Good morning, YouTube. Today I am going to tell you a story. It is a chilly 59 degrees today in Tucson. And this is like the first day that we actually had to turn the heater on in our house. Because it's so cold outside, I can kind of like tell when it's gonna be like very cold, because this might sound random, but I get kind of like pain in my pinky. I get it in this special pinky right here. I don't know if you can really get the full effect. So my pinky is a two-part event. The first part happened when I was a senior.
Gladiator.
Jesus Christ. When I was a senior in high school, I was at club volleyball practice, and I had a normal pinky until this night, and we were scrimmaging our 17s team, and I went up to block. The ball got hit off of my pinky, and I was just like, ooh, that really hurt. Just thought I had like, that it got jammed. So I was like, whoo, whoo, whoo. And I looked down and, hold on, let me get Chris.
What's wrong with you?
Okay, ready?
I'm recording.
Oh my gosh. Can you scoot it up? I feel like you're filming my neck. Okay, you ready? So I looked down at my pinky after I was like, ooh, that really hurt. And literally, I'm gonna show you on this finger because this finger can't do it anymore, but my pinky was literally this big. It was this, hello, it was this short. I was like, where did the rest of my pinky go? But like what happened was this whole top section was sitting down here. Like it was like, this just came this way, and so like these two joints like separated, and this piece was like sitting on this way, and there was a piece of bone sticking out right here. So like the top of this section on my pinky was popped out of the skin, and there was no blood yet. It was just like a white, like a big old white bump sticking out, and that was the bone. And I was like, ah! So I like put my hand behind my back, and I was like, because I was like, never seen bone out of the skin before. And I was like, coach, my pinky. And he was like, what? And I was like, just look. And I didn't want to like bring it out and look again. So he like looked behind my back, and he was like, okay, let's get your stuff and I'm gonna drive you to the hospital. My coach drove me to the hospital, and he called my mom on the way and was like, hey, which hospital do you want me to take Casey to? And she was like, what? And he was like, yeah, she broke her finger at practice. And then my mom got there, and she was like, oh gosh, because like my finger is now starting to bleed. Not a lot, but like blood is coming out of it. We were like, my coach was like signing me in, like filling out my stuff while my mom like was on her way. And then the nurse was like, you know what, can we help you? I was like, oh, he had like a finger thing. I like showed her my finger. She was like, okay, let's get you back there. So to make a long story short, they numbed my finger. Well, they x-rayed it first. The bone was not actually broken. It was just like a severe dislocation. And then like a compound dislocation, if that's a thing. I don't know the technical term, but anyways, they said since it wasn't broken, we can just pop it back into place and then like stitch up the hole. So I was like, okay, and am I gonna be able to sleep when you're like doing this? Like, no, we'll just numb it up. So I was like, oh gosh. So I was like super nervous that, you know, like I was gonna have to like feel more pain. They put some numbing in my finger, and this was a student hospital, so the person like was like a doctor in training basically, and he was like, let me know when you can't feel these pokes or anything. But he didn't tell me to like look away or like close my eyes. So I was just like watching him, and when he was poking, I'd be like, oh yeah, I can still feel it, even though I couldn't really feel it. But I wanted to make sure that I was not gonna feel like any pain. So I think he might have actually like over medicated my finger, and he popped it back into place. I didn't feel anything. They sewed up the stitches. I didn't feel any of the stitches, and we were good to go. So I was out for about 2 or 3 weeks, I think, with the first time I broke it. Because the bone wasn't broken, I just basically had to wait for the incision to heal, and then I taped it up and I was good to go. Flash forward, I think it was my sophomore year of college, and now the bone has basically, I would show you them two together, but obviously this is like a lot thicker than this pinky, you know, that's my normal one. And so because it was so calloused, I was doing the same thing. I went up to block the ball. I did not have it taped together. I just had it like my normal hand because I wasn't somebody that taped my fingers before this injury. And I went up to block the ball and I felt like that same pain. So I was like, oh gosh. So I like shook it out. I went to look at it thinking that maybe it was gonna be like that same little mini finger, and it wasn't. So I was like, okay, maybe I just jammed it. And so I like played the game. I came out because my finger was like still really hurting. The trainer was like, I don't think it's jammed or anything, and I was like, but I was feeling sharp pain, and I broken my foot before and I know what a broken bone feels like. So I was like, something is not right. So I could feel like I would push after the game, I was like pushing my finger like together, and I could feel like the pieces of bone like moving in my finger. So I was like, gosh, I have to get an x-ray. We get an x-ray, and because this knuckle was so like I've calcified, it was like, it's like super strong now. So it stayed together, and then it split the whole, so it just spiraled down my whole thing. Like this just wrapped around, and the pieces of the bone were separated. They were like, okay, we have two options. You can either have surgery and get your pinky pinned together, which was gonna take me out of the season basically for like 6 weeks, and that was like, this was the first tournament of the season, so I would have missed like half the season. They're like, oh, or we can just put this like hard cast basically around it. It'll be like padded and foamed, and then you can play with it. So I'll show you videos of like what it looks like. It was like this huge like hand, which if you play volleyball, you know, like this is like very awkward to be playing with like this big thing on your hand. But I had already missed a lot of the previous season with a different injury, with my shin injury, so I didn't want to miss starting my second year, miss more of the season. So I just put it in this thing and I was like, all right, we're gonna do this. And which is why it is so huge now, because I did not get it pinned. And they said eventually I could probably get this shaved down to look more normal. So that's that. I hope you enjoyed my story. I gotta go take care of our little sick baby right now. But yeah, leave comments down below if you've had any like extreme injuries. That's probably my most major one, and because it's like I've injured it like majorly like twice, like that's my most significant one. I have other ones which maybe I'll tell you about later. So leave a comment down below if you've had any like major surgeries or major like brutal injuries, because I think they're super interesting. And we will see you tomorrow. Thumbs up if you like this video. I'm gonna try and get some good pictures in, so I hope that Chris could include them in here of my finger and of me playing with this giant cast, because it was hilarious. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Subscribe. Ciao. Bye.